Ahoy hoy, I'm B-Side Berto, and welcome to another episode of Fox Pines on Settlement Survival, a strategy city builder game by Gleamer Studio. This is the 15th and final episode of Fox Pines. This episode is me playing the rest of the game out. I started around year 52, 53, and I end around year 70. From the last episode, I experienced back-to-back earthquakes, and once again, I wasn't completely prepared for it, and it destroyed a lot of homes. It took a good minute to bounce back from it. This is the second neighborhood, the Morgan neighborhood, on the first earthquake. The third neighborhood wasn't as bad. The senior housing, because it was built with building kits, did not crumble. The population was at 785 when this happened at the end of year 52. This photo is the cleanup from the second earthquake. I'm just finishing up building everything back up. And then my timeline had a natural disaster and 2 plagues. So I had a good 10 years of gameplay with back-to-back earthquakes. The natural event ended up being a blizzard, and the 2 plagues I did end up getting through relatively better. I barely noticed them. I also did get an animal plague later on. It did set me back a little bit, but it wasn't too much. The earthquakes do take some of your storage away, some of your inventory from your storage. And since I had them 2 within 7 years, it kind of set me back a little bit, but I quickly bounced back with how many farms and pastures I did have. So as I got closer to wrapping it up, I ended up getting a few tiers with Lorenzo through a trade, and I'm putting out a hardwood forest farm underneath the industrial area. And this is what the Graveyard Island ended up looking like. And this is where I paused the game, and I didn't continue since. I'm at the middle of year 68 when I did this. And I'll take a look around and kind of see where Fox Pines ended up. Starting with the trade factions, I ended up getting at least a second tier with Meow. I did get soybeans later on, so I got the tofu from her. I just finished off a tier 4 with Lorenzo. I was going for the hardwood furniture and the bank at the end. Tier 2 with Rania. I wanted the moss, but I ended up not putting any down in this build. And I have tier 2 with Carlos, and I'm just shy of 1 trade caravan away from getting tier 3, which could give me obsidian, but I would be more interested in the water nursery if I continued this. I did add more people in the offices of Edict, but from all the build, I only have the Palace of Justice and 3 Office of Edicts buildings filled up. And these are all the edicts I have. I purposely went for smaller, cheaper edicts to see how many I can fill up. It worked out for me in this game, but I would do it differently next. This is the crops I ended up with. Chilies was my first one. And through trade, I got agave, hardwood forest, bamboo, dates, and cactus. So about half of what I have here came through trade factions. I pretty much have the same animals the entire game, and it's worked well for me. I wish I had a cow or a chicken, to be honest, but it is what it is. I did get blueprints through the immersion ship, and I did put a few of them down in the build. Towards the end here, and I was waiting for some things to build and go through, I ended up just decorating a little bit. I haven't decorated much in this game, but I'm starting to like it more, and I learned a lot from doing this and seeing what I like and don't like. The town center there is stone, and the roads are cut stone, so it looks a little wonky with the roads being one type of thing and the center being another. This building came out good with the extra flowers kind of leading up to it. And from the other side, you can see the school and the police station. I did upgrade a few neighborhoods with luxury homes, and because I was taking so much grass away, I did add hedges that kind of square off the city center. And when I started producing salted fish, I kept getting events that would give you cats in the end. So a lot of these luxury homes do have cats in their bonus slots there. These are my date groves. I always go for Rania to get the dates. They're not only edible, but you can get wine out of them and sugar. Here's Honeywell Fields. I like the way it came out overall. I wish I would have built the apiaries a little bit differently so I could have fit one more in there, maybe even two if I would have done the math right. I did add flower pots for some achievements I did for decoration. I wish I would have decorated this area just a little bit more. And these two coffee orchards help my trade throughout most of the game. Another build or two, I needed something to trade, and I happened to have coffee. And when I started trading it, I realized how much I can get from it early game. So I've built a habit of just making coffee just to trade and not making it for my people to drink. And here's a closer look at the apiaries. From Honeywell Fields, we'll go up north to the area above the lake. Here's a small fishing port I got from the third tier Lorenzo trade faction. It's set to get oysters. It uses nets to get the oysters, and I didn't have the technology for nets, so I ended up buying a lot through trade. As you can see here, I have well over 1,000 nets at the time. I built a knitting shop kitty corner to it that if I ever continue playing this and got the nets, it would be right there for them. This is my first real build using the marquee. So I kind of decorated it a little bit with some cooking stuff and some tombstones at the end. The use of the marquee building is interesting. It's nice when you need homes and there's a place to go. It's almost like interim housing, but far away. My foresters and gatherers hut next together, they're working very well. This is something I'm probably going to do next build. Put these two close together so they can kind of work in tandem. That's the Excalibur blueprint I got. And it's a sword stuck in a stone, and it's only built in water. Continuing south, I have 3 nurseries going for the agave seeds. If I continued playing, I would have got that extra tier with Carlos for the water nursery, and I would have upgraded this area so I can keep making more agave with the upgraded nurseries. And I do have a water mill down here making tofu out of the soybeans. I did upgrade some houses down here as well to luxury homes. The original idea for this area was to be mostly senior housing, kind of like a retirement community. And I built a courtyard area to kind of try to pull that off. At a certain point, it wasn't worth building the third one. I would rather have upgraded the luxury homes like I did. And in this house, a 12-year-old student was rocking 70 dates in a turkey, so good for him. I do like the area split, one side of the river and the other. That's something I probably would continue on in my next build if I could. Going over the river to the hardwood forest area. I tried making this area like a lumber yard area, so I have a furniture factory going. I put this warehouse down and set it so it only would store the hardwood from the hardwood forest right next to it. And as you can see, it's 98% filled up. And this warehouse already has a brick bonus, which increases its storage capacity. The industrial area didn't change much. I just changed this made it to have hardwood tools since that was available to me. Coming back west to the business district, I did get a print factory and making ink. And if you look above it, across the street, I am making silkworm. I'm trying to produce some silk towards the end here. Going up and east to the Morgan neighborhood, it's still mostly houses. Nothing really changed much. I did change this to make silk production. I'm not making a whole lot, but I did want to get it started at least towards the end there. And if you look top left, that's where my soybean farms are currently. And I made a little food processing area or neighborhood. I did finally get a bread shop making peasant bread. It took me a long time and I wanted it earlier, but I got it at the end. And across the way there, I am making sugar, and I'm making a lot of sugar out of the malt. And you see at the end of the road is a supply station. I did sprinkle a few supply stations throughout Fox Pines here. In my main pasture area, I left some space on top. I was going to make more pastures for turkey and geese. I did not get into it because this system ended up working well for me. I do have alpaca pastures in a different part, so there's more than just this. Even with the earthquakes taking out a good amount of storage and some plagues coming through and taking out a few pastures at a time, this ended up being holding pretty good. Here's to look at the map at the top right corner. I can pretty much see where I'm at. If I were to continue Fox Pines and build it out, I would put my fourth marketplace either here or in this spot, which I'll show. I would have put it here on this island and then had tourism built right above it, hugging that lake. Or I would have put it more towards the industrial area where the hardwood farms are, and then a tourism area, if possible, would be in between the senior housing and this fourth marketplace. So I'll show you where my technology was at the end here. I'm going to go through each category so you can see where it's at, and then I've selected the one I would have picked per each category next if I got the next technology point. So for livability, I would have picked hospital next. Having multiple plagues and an animal plague go through kind of was showing me that I was lacking behind in this health area. For science, I would have picked book collection next, just to get closer to enrich courses, the remodel for the schools. Like I can give them a perk by doing that. Trade, I would have picked quick preparation. For as much as I relied on trade, I'm surprised I haven't gotten more in this category. In mining, I would just continue down the path for the quarry. I would like to have silver, but the quarry needed the upgrade quicker. For construction, I would have chosen bridge building, more for the aesthetics of it. In agriculture, I would need fishing nets and then eco pasture. In processing, I would have picked leatherware, which would have helped me build furniture for trade if I kept continue playing. In logistics, I would have picked baskets. I'm honestly surprised that I've gotten this far in this game without having baskets being made inside the city itself. In the past few seasons of gameplay, I have redid a lot of people in the town hall, and one of the administrators here got me my soybeans. That's how I got that seed. We ended with just shy of 800 people, and my two senior housings could hold 72 people, and my old population's at 10% with 81, so a well chunk of my older population's in senior housing. So if I build a third one, I think I could have covered more, but it wasn't necessary to do. For a few things I would have probably done differently. I like the graveyard idea on the island. I probably would have changed the setup of it, but the science buildings, I think, is what threw me off. I thought I was going to do more over there with decorations and make it look pretty, but I didn't touch those areas over there. And I think they would have been better off somewhere else. I could have used that space either for more graveyards or the crematorium could have got moved. And I could have made it more aesthetically looking better area. I am using the dock more for its inventory to use trade merchant ships so I don't spend as much money or any money at all. This game I kind of ended poorly, but the earthquakes took so much from my storage that I was taking it back off of my dock. But having stuff in here, especially early game, really saves you on money and gives you so much more resources early on. Toward the end of this game, I was trading bedding sets and sugar. I didn't, I knew they were expensive, but I never traded them exclusively, and that was probably a mistake. And I'm gonna learn for my next game because 215 bedding sets, not luxury bedding sets, just regular bedding sets, 200 of them was going for 10,000. And you can see I have over 7,000 sugar, and I can only move 3,400 at a time, and I'm still getting 12,500 out of it. So lessons for next time is sugar, and if I can, bedding sets, throw them in the trade route earlier, get more coming back, and probably grow faster. The overall look and setup of the pastures up north did work. it wasn't measured the best because the mills are kind of scattered all over the place and the storages aren't really the best spots maybe. So overall, this is decent, but I can work on it, and we're gonna try for the next build a similar pattern like this. I wanted a specialized business district, and I kind of separated it too much. I wish this area, many buildings here could easily have been in this area, and these handful of farms, there was no reason why it couldn't be down here. And I need to remember that marketplace can get expanded through the edicts, because when I built these cactus workshops, this office edict building, I didn't have any intention on moving them. You can see I didn't, but how many more homes I could have fit just in that area. My industrial area is the weakest point of Fox Pines, and I'm kind of embarrassed at the end of it here. 30% of my town has upgraded roads, and I don't even have dirt roads going to my mines or my quarry, my upgraded mountain quarry. But I wish this coal mine at the bottom would have been moved more on this side or even toward the other side of this mountain here, just to be closer to the houses. And that's where we're going to lead off this episode of Fox Pines, the final episode. Thank you for watching. And if you happen to watch some of these or most of these, thank you even more. I think I may do another build like this with screenshots. I've kind of was experimenting in this just to see what would work and what wouldn't as far as playing the game, editing it, putting it out on YouTube. But I'm going to try for another one. I'm going to try to do a similar thing of 14, 15, 16 episodes, something like that. I wish I'm going to include more. I kind of realized I was forgetting a few things to show and maybe showing too much of certain things that weren't necessary. I avoid explaining every detail of each building and aspects of the game. I may do that a little bit more to broaden it and just to kind of expand on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. If anybody would like to feel free to for comments on what was good, what was bad, what can be better, feel free. I would like to read them. Thank you for watching. Take care and have a good one.